Now, 2 weeks ago today, a soldier was killed on the streets of Woolwich. One of the witnesses to that attack became one of the first people to alert the wider world to what had happened. Boya Dee, a rapper, sent out a string of tweets saying, "I've seen a lot in my time, but that has to rank somewhere in the top 3, adding, people were asking why? And I was just going to the shop for some fruit and veg, and I see all that." Those messages placed him in the media spotlight in a way he never wanted. But he also felt Woolwich was never the violent area it was portrayed as in the aftermath of the killing. So Boya Dee has made this film exclusively for Channel 4 News about his South East London home and how it's reacted to a terrible event.
My name's Boya Dee. 2 weeks ago, a man died in a place I call home. My tweets of what happened that day thrust me into the spotlight, not one I particularly wanted. I found it hard to go back to the scene. I accept Woolwich hasn't always been the best place to live, but it's not the violent area the world has been shown. Let me show you my Woolwich. Music and media are my life passions and what I do. And Woolwich has been a vibrant and multicultural place since I can remember. There were fears that this could divide us, so I wanted to kind of find out 2 weeks on how people were feeling. My first stop was with one of Woolwich's more famous residents, former British heavyweight boxing champion Julius Francis, who once went toe-to-toe with Mike Tyson himself.
I was really sad and really quite devastated about the actual events that happened. The perception of Woolwich is really racist. Woolwich is really bad. Woolwich is really a dark, dangerous place. But if you come here, you I think people would be pleasantly surprised.
Would you say that you were positive about the future of Woolwich?
I see so much talent in the area from this place, and knowing how much talent there is and knowing that there are young people out there that are really striving to put down a marker and make a name for themselves. I'll always say this: don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to your surroundings.
Gangs have been mentioned quite a bit in recent weeks, and here it was one of the main topics of our conversation.
Do any of these kids between 16 and 18 look sane to you? They're all off their head, blood, man. You're talking like they're sensible, like they're... I'm wrong.
A long time ago, talented rapper and friend of mine, Miniature, was caught up in a life of gang culture. But like so many others, he just had to get out.
The things that I wanted in life changed. It's like I no longer want to be this guy that everybody knows in the area for causing trouble, and I no longer want police knocking on my mother's door and arresting me. I don't want police knocking on my mum's door, and I don't want to go to prison no more. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't want to go to prison no more, and my mum come and see me in prison. When I did a sentence a couple years back, and my older brother passed away when I was inside. Like, I don't want to be behind. I want to be in a prison and they're knocking on my door telling me my older brother's died. Prison and this life doesn't make no sense. Short term it makes sense. You're young and you're trying to get a reputation for yourself. Then it made sense at the time. Now, after having a reputation and having a name, does it make sense that you proceed and carry on? It's not going to work out in your favor. It's just a matter of time until everything you've worked for crumbles underneath you and then you're no longer here. So it only makes sense for me to say, okay, what's the next step in my life? How am I going to progress as a man?
In recent times, Woolwich has had a bit of a facelift. And in ways it's working. I mean, the place actually looks stunning. But some young people still just don't buy it. And Caleb is one of them. Like everyone else, he's carried the same concerns over the past couple of weeks. But the stigmatization of young people is also something he feels strongly about.
Try talking to the young people. They're a lot different than what people say we are. I mean, me and my mates, we play football, we enjoy ourselves, we go out, have a good laugh. But then, it's a lot harder, you know what I mean? Especially the areas. But people around here, they're not as bad as what everyone says. We have got, in our younger generation, we have got hope. they are a good lot of people.
If the Queen was to come to you, knocking your door tomorrow and say, listen, I've kicked out Dave, I want you as Prime Minister, what would you change?
I would change a lot. I would try and people in different, even all age ranges, if they're struggling to get a job because they haven't got experience or something like that, I'd help them out.
I can talk and I can hear how his world's no longer.
A very long-time friend of mine and partner in rhyme, Sas, is a Muslim living in Woolwich, and we've always learnt a lot from each other. So I wanted to see what he was saying.
Everyone is outraged. Everyone's disgusted. Everyone wants to send their condolences to the guy's family and stuff like that, because no one wants to stand for something like this. As human beings, no matter where you're from, no one wants to stand for something like that. So that is me. I'm proud of that, to be from this area, and that is what it is. I'm proud. I won't even lie.
I also took time to speak to some religious leaders who were really captivated with the way the community reacted to the tragedy.
The bravery by some people, and especially by the 3 women who helped Lee Rigby on the day. And I think that's been a real inspiration to the whole community here. And there is a petition to award those 3 ladies the George Medal. And so hopefully that's something that will happen.
Communities do move on as time goes on. A number of years ago, I was a curate at one stage in Sheffield when the Hillsborough disaster took place at the foot of my road. And I was involved with the community there. And I was very struck the other day when people from Woolwich were saying, Woolwich's name is now going to be forever tagged with this. And I was struck by the way that actually as Hillsborough has moved on, it's grown and developed. It's not just about that, it's about communities coming together and finding new ways of living.
Now you see, like Miniature, I'm very hopeful for the future.
I had to step out of it. I had to step out of it. I had to step out of it. And right now, it's about me doing positive music, spreading the positive message, and then just do positive stuff. And I'm in a positive area. I'm so glad I'm in this area. This area helps me to do what I need to do.
I tweeted after the incident with Lee Rigby, out of darkness, let the light shine. And I really truly believe that something good can and will come out of it.
Now, there were so many other people who live and work in Woolwich that we could have spoken to. But you know what? I'm pretty certain the vast majority of them would have expressed the same opinion. Because although Woolwich is definitely a place with its problems, it's not a place without hope.
That was Boya Dee on his home patch of Woolwich, which has dealt with the horrific events of a fortnight ago. A little earlier, Boya Dee came into the studio and I had the chance to talk with him. Boya, that was a very, very powerful film. And I know because I caught you in the first tweets that the whole thing hit you very, very hard at the beginning, very hard. And I'm just wondering, what do you think it's done to you as a person?
I suppose in a way it's kind of made me appreciate people more. It showed me how people can, after, you know, something not so pleasant happens, people can come together as human beings and kind of forge forward for a better future, really.
You know, at that beginning, you know, when I first saw your words come up on my screen in the Twitter feed, I thought, this guy has actually seen this. I believed you, and I retweeted you. I thought people needed to know what had happened. Well, obviously, there was other word coming to confirm it from other places, but it was your eyewitness account.
Yeah, it was just a case of, I think people resonated a lot with how I kind of explained the situation, really. I kind of bridged the gap between, you know, just your everyday folk and what's known to, I don't know, like, what sometimes isn't always media people can, I don't want to say trust, but media people listen to. So I feel like I kind of bridged the gap and
well, you
played the
simply
position.
had to say what you had seen.
Yeah. Well,
you didn't spare words. You said what you'd seen.
I felt it was in the moment, and I felt like I was addressing something that was kind of quite unbelievable, that happened nearly on my doorstep.
And random.
Very random. Very, very random. It's not often you see things like that.
Would you say Woolwich is kind of back to normal?
Yeah. I
2 weeks on?
Yeah, I mean, people do kind of still resonate with what happened, but I believe everyone is ready to kind of push forward.
Move on.
Yeah.
Well, Boya, thanks very, very much for taking us to your community and sharing what happened to you.
No problem.
Thanks.